A silent war on terror inside Niger's fierce battle for sovereignty. While much of the world remains distracted by distant headlines and the noise of global politics, a different kind of war is unfolding on the front lines of Niger, a war fought not with loud declarations or flashy campaigns, but with quiet, relentless determination. It is a war of sovereignty, of protection, and of survival. In the heart of the Sahel, Niger's defense and security forces have been conducting an extraordinary series of operations, safeguarding lives, dismantling terrorist networks, and rebuilding trust with civilians, all while the world looks away. Before we dive into this powerful story, take a second to like this video. It tells YouTube this is important content, and it helps more people around the world discover what's really happening in Africa. From July 6 to July 12, 2025, the nation witnessed a chain of decisive actions led by brave soldiers, intelligence officers, and elite patrol units across multiple regions. These weren't just military exercises. They were life-and-death confrontations with those who seek to destabilize Niger's future. The week began with an alarming but crucial interception. On Monday, July 7th, soldiers stationed at the Yassan reconnaissance military post detected suspicious activity near their base. A man, foreign in appearance and behavior, was seen loitering in the area. His actions were erratic, his speech incoherent. Hallmarks of someone hiding dangerous intentions or affiliations. When approached, he had no form of identification, no clear story, and exhibited signs of possible alignment with criminal armed groups. He was quickly detained and handed over to the proper security services for in-depth investigation. That arrest, while minor on the surface, symbolized something far greater, a sign that Niger's forces are not sleeping. They are watching, listening, and ready. Later that same week, on Friday, July 11th, a larger operation unfolded at the weekly market in Abala. This wasn't just any marketplace, it was suspected of being used as a hub for illicit transactions, a logistics point for those supporting terrorism behind closed doors. Acting on gathered intelligence, a targeted raid was launched. Within hours, 6 individuals were apprehended. All of them were linked to logistical support for terrorist armed groups, smuggling goods, transferring funds, and providing transportation routes. By removing these 6, the forces struck at the silent but essential backbone of terrorism, the civilian infrastructure that allows it to operate in the shadows. But the battle didn't stop there. That same evening, as the sun fell over the Sanam area, a joint military patrol found itself under fire near the village of Rehi Michelmi. 4 assailants riding 2 motorcycles ambushed the patrol with gunfire before fleeing toward the swampy areas of Kari. Though the assailants evaded capture, they left behind a vital trail. The soldiers reacted immediately, sealing off the surrounding market in Rehi Michelmi and launching a containment operation. Within hours, 4 more suspects were captured. Individuals believed to have had direct or indirect involvement in the ambush or in terrorist support roles. These arrests are part of a broader campaign under Operation NIA, a mission concentrated on reclaiming Niger's riverbanks and securing regions vulnerable to infiltration. This operation gained even more significance after a failed terrorist assault on the military post at Bulunduga. That attempted attack had been swiftly repelled by Niger's forces, resulting in heavy losses for the enemy and forcing them to retreat. But the retreat was not enough. In response, Niger's military began a wave of mop-up operations across the region. Their goal, ensure that no remnant of the enemy regrouped and no weapon was left behind. In the aftermath of the Bulunduga assault, clearing operations yielded powerful results. The forces recovered numerous enemy bodies, weapons, and stockpiles of abandoned ammunition. These recoveries weren't just victories, they were lifelines, ensuring those same tools could not be reused in future attacks. Each bullet taken back, each body counted, was a step toward securing the nation. But Niger's fight isn't only about military strength. In the midst of operations, the armed forces are also rebuilding the social contract between the army and the people. Under Operation NIA, soldiers are not just warriors, they are humanitarians. In villages such as Niiri and Makolundi, they distributed large donations of food, including several tons of grain, sugar, and cooking oil. These gestures are not just about feeding people, they are about nourishing trust. When citizens see soldiers protecting them and also providing for their families, the propaganda of terrorists falls apart. At the same time, far to the east, a high-stakes air-ground raid was underway. In the early hours of July 11th, Niger's military launched a bold operation on a plateau near the village of Toulou in the Michelmi sector. Intelligence indicated that a terrorist group was attempting to build a logistics base in this remote area. If allowed to succeed, that base could have become a launchpad for attacks on nearby towns, perhaps even across borders. But the army struck first. Helicopters roared above as ground troops closed in. The initial assault was swift and surgical, followed by a methodical sweep of the area. When the dust settled, 10 terrorists lay dead and the base was dismantled. But the mission didn't end there. As troops pursued escapees along the Cherry-Toulou corridor, they intercepted and neutralized 5 more fighters attempting to flee toward a neighboring country. In total, 15 terrorists were eliminated, and an essential logistics hub was destroyed. These numbers are not just statistics. They represent lives saved, schools that won't be bombed, and markets that won't be raided. They represent mothers who can sleep without fear, and children who can return to classrooms instead of fleeing into the bush. Still, the enemy does not rest, and neither do Niger's defenders. Later that same day, a routine ISR, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance mission, those silent watchers in the sky, detected another alarming threat: a large gathering of Boko Haram fighters. The response was immediate. Airstrikes rained down with precision and fury. Multiple enemy combatants were neutralized, and their infrastructure obliterated. The operation sent a clear message to Boko Haram: Niger's skies are not safe for you, nor is its soil. These victories are hard-earned. They do not come without risk. Each soldier sent into a raid, each pilot flying over hostile terrain, understands the cost. But they go anyway, because for them, Niger is worth defending, not just as a territory, but as an idea. A sovereign nation, free from fear, united in purpose. To our brave men and women on the front lines, your courage is not invisible. It echoes through every village you protect, every child you save, and every threat you silence. To the people of Niger, this is your fight too. By standing with your army, by resisting the whispers of terror and rejecting the currency of fear, you are reclaiming your future. To our global audience and our loyal viewers of Voice of Africa, we thank you for your continued support and solidarity. Your shares, your comments, your super thanks. These are more than digital tokens. They amplify the truth. They break the silence. They let the world know that Africa is not passive. Africa is awake, alert, and defending its people. One battle, one raid, one victory at a time. What is happening in Niger today is not just a security operation. It is a rebirth. A nation once threatened by fragmentation is now knitting itself back together with threads of resilience and pride. And while these battles may not always make the headlines, their outcomes will shape the future of the entire Sahel, and indeed, the destiny of Africa. So we say to the world, do not ignore Niger. Do not underestimate the strength of a people defending what is theirs. And do not forget that every life saved in silence is still a victory shouted in the heart. If you believe in Africa's right to peace, if you stand with Niger's sovereign fight, then support this message. Like, share, and subscribe to Voice of Africa. Let our stories travel far, beyond borders, beyond fear, until every African child grows up knowing that their continent is strong, unbreakable, and free.